What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. Earlier today, I posted my updated college football playoff predictions, and of course, about the time I posted that video, the news came out that the game, Ohio State versus Michigan, has been canceled. We will not get this rivalry this year. For the first time since 1917, Ohio State and Michigan will not play. Just thinking about the rivalry and not having it this year, it's just crazy, and it's been a crazy year. It's not a big surprise. If you watched last week, we talked about this, and I kind of, it kind of looked like it was going in this direction. Michigan having all the positive tests and everything, and just the fact that I don't think Michigan wants to play this game. It would not be pretty. As there's no telling how many points that Ohio State would score in this game. It would be a blowout. So I think for Michigan, it's not really that big of a deal. They saved themselves some embarrassment. And perhaps they could have played and they didn't play on purpose. Maybe they didn't want to play to keep Ohio State potentially out of the Big Ten Championship. I don't know that. Of course, that's what Kirk Herbstreit alluded to on game day. Or maybe it wasn't game day, it was the ranking show last week. But regardless, it's not going to happen. So this doesn't affect Michigan. Like I said, their season has been a disaster. They're looking to next year, and I don't think Michigan fans really wanted to play this game, honestly. But for Ohio State, this is a big deal. Given the current Big Ten rules, they will not be eligible for the Big Ten championship game without this game. They're not going to play enough games to qualify. However, the Big Ten, maybe as of this video, has not officially done it, but the Big Ten is going to change the rules. Ohio State will be in the Big Ten championship. I would be very surprised if they are not. If you go back to Barry Alvarez and what he said the other day, I'm going to go back and read the exact quote from what he said, because this makes me think that the Big Ten is going to change this. So they asked him about changing the rules if Ohio State did not qualify. He said, I would think that if something would happen to Ohio State and they'd have to cancel another game, that's something that we've got to revisit. If Ohio State has a game canceled, I think we as athletic directors would have to revisit whether they should be involved in the Big Ten championship game, meaning they would go back and look at the rule. So given what he said there, it's not a guarantee, but it seems like they're going to revisit this. They will change the rule. They'll put Ohio State in. And if you think about it, Ohio State didn't even need this game against Michigan, or didn't need to win this game, I should say. If they had lost this game, they still would have been in the Big Ten championship, because they would have had one loss and would have had the tiebreaker with Indiana. So it didn't really matter and if they won this game. So if you're thinking about it like that, why would they not be in the Big Ten championship? But if you look at the big picture, they would have had a chance to maybe lose another game. I mean, they wouldn't have, but I'm just saying anything's possible, especially in 2020. So I understand the rule and everything, but when you've got really a 2-game lead on second place, meaning you would have to lose 2 games to not make it in, I think that maybe they should change this rule and let Ohio State into the Big Ten championship game. I understand both sides of the argument, but at the end of the day, everyone in the country knows that Ohio State's the best team in the East Division, and to leave them out really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Some of this was not their fault. I know the last game they had to cancel was because of Ohio State, but they went out and played Michigan State very short-handed, but went ahead and played that game. And now this game, again, not their fault. Michigan is the team canceling. I believe they canceled one game. They had to cancel one game, the Illinois game. That was their fault. Let's just call that a forfeit. Let's say they lose that game. Again, they're still in the Big Ten championship. If you say the team has to cancel, then that team forfeits the game. Ohio State still would be in. So I have a hard time not seeing the Buckeyes in the Big Ten championship game. Does it really matter in the big picture, in the playoff picture? It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, because they're going to have a game on Championship Saturday regardless. Well, they'll either play Northwestern, most likely, for the Big Ten Championship, or they'll play Wisconsin or perhaps Iowa, depending on who wins that game Saturday. You'll play the second place team, and it's still going to be a similar opponent. It's not like there's a big difference in those opponents. So when you're trying to build the resume as far as who they play, not really a big deal, but it's just that one thing. It's the title of Big Ten champion. Big Ten champion. And that's something that the committee could potentially look at. But when you look at the separation right now, Ohio State, Texas A&M, there is no championship advantage for Ohio State. Right now, there are no conference champions, obviously. Ohio State is ahead of Texas A&M right now. What is A&M going to do to pass Ohio State? I don't see anything happening. I think you'd have to worry more about a team like Cincinnati, because they more than likely will be a conference champion. They'll be undefeated. But we all know the committee has shown no love for the group of 5 teams. So I believe Ohio State is still safe. Now, if they don't play again, if on Championship Saturday they can't play, then you really have to start looking at this resume, and A&M maybe gets to play another game. It could happen. We could see Ohio State left out of the college football playoff, an undefeated Ohio State team, but I think that they're going to be in. I think this team is safe, just my personal opinion, based on where they're ranked right now. Now, if the committee had ranked them behind A&M, behind Florida, up to this point, then yeah, you would really be worried here if you're Ohio State. But because they're ahead of them now, and because those teams don't really have an opportunity, which of course, if Florida were to beat Alabama, that would change things, but A&M doesn't have an opportunity to get a big win. I think Ohio State is safe. Now, if Florida beats Alabama and Clemson beats Notre Dame, I think Ohio State will be left out. I think that's a scenario where the Buckeyes will not get in. So that's something to keep an eye on. I don't think Ohio State is guaranteed a spot. I don't think they're 100% safe. But if the favorites went out, I think they will be still in that playoff field, whether they're number 4 or number 3, depending on what happens with Clemson and Notre Dame. I think they're in. I think that they're in. But again, if Florida were to upset Alabama, that changes things, and that potentially could leave the Buckeyes out of the college football playoff. So what do you do now? I know the Big Ten is not allowing you to go schedule non-conference games, so I don't know what Ohio State could potentially do this weekend. I know everyone wants to see Ohio State and Texas A&M since both their games got canceled, and that would be amazing. I wish we could see it, but it's not going to happen. I don't think Ohio State wants to play that game. I don't think they would want to play that game and risk losing and not being in the top 4. Texas A&M would love to play that game because they have nothing to lose. If they win, they're probably in the playoff. If they lose, well, they probably weren't going to get in anyways. So that would be a great game to see. But perhaps we could see if there's another cancellation in the Big Ten, and as of now, I have not seen any. But if another game gets canceled in the Big Ten, perhaps we could see them do what the Pac-12 is doing and change the schedule around. And that would maybe get Ohio State another game, and then they wouldn't even have to worry about changing the rules. They could still make it into the Big Ten championship game. But this is just bad news if you're an Ohio State fan. You really wanted to play this game, really wanted to win the Big Ten championship. I think they're going to change the rules. I think Ohio State will still be in the Big Ten championship, but as of this recording, nothing has been officially announced on that, and we will have to wait and see. But big news here out of the Big Ten, obviously, Ohio State versus Michigan canceled. We will not get the game this year for the first time since 1917. I would love to know what you guys think about this. Do you think Ohio State should still get in the Big Ten championship game? Do you think the Buckeyes should be in the college football playoff if they don't play in the Big Ten championship? Or even if they do? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.